Welcome to Fit Over 50 demo. I'm sharing some of my favorite movement patterns that promote core stability with joint mobility. We're going to start with a dynamic warm-up. It's important to warm up your body not with static stretching, but with movement that helps to prepare it for the movement that you're going to be doing through the exercises. Notice I'm working out barefoot. This helps me to really feel the ground, help me to use my feet better, and keeps me better stabilized. A lot of times the sneakers that we use are too cushiony and they actually make it harder to really use your foot well, which makes it harder to use the rest of your body. Now we're going to go into alternate toe taps. We're using crossed body patterns, which is part of a PNF principle, proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. And what that means is our bodies work in more diagonal patterns than straight patterns of flexion or extension. So we're going to go alternating. Again, these are just loosening up the muscles in diagonal patterns and getting our heart rate a little bit elevated before we start the workout. Today I'm just sharing one set of each of the exercises in a progression from floor to standing, from basic movements to more complex movements. And I'm hoping that it'll just give you a little bit of a taste of what Fit Over 50 and the next level strengthening might look like and how it might apply for you. One more each side, and then we're going to do lateral step outs. So there's three planes of movement. Sagittal is your flexion extension, which a lot of our exercises come into. Frontal plane is the plane I'm in now. It's your side to side. And then there's transverse plane, which is your rotation. These movement patterns challenge each of those planes instead of just one plane at a time. One more each side. Good. Now, the first exercise, I'm going to have you grab a weight. This is 15 pounds. You can start with 10. We're going to do dead bugs with a PNF pattern. So again, I'm on my back. My knees are up. Dead bug is the opposite arm and leg reaching out. This one is reaching the weight in a diagonal pattern over the opposite shoulder. I'm really holding on to my weight with a good grip. I'm breathing out as I reach out. Breathing is super important to activate the diaphragm, the pelvic floor, and your deeper core muscles. A lot of times we tend to hold our breath and we miss getting the activation of the right muscles. If this is too difficult for you, you can keep one leg down on the floor so that you just reach out the opposite leg. One more each side. Excellent. Now we're going to go into a bridge. I'm going to use two 10-pound weights. I'm going to put my feet close to my buttocks. I'm making sure my feet are firmly planted on the floor. Big toe, little toe, and heel, so that they're all in contact with the floor. This helps to use the right muscles in my body. I'm going to press up into the bridge as I press my weights towards the ceiling. My wrists are neutral and they're facing each other. I'm going to push hard into my left foot and kick my right leg out. And then bring it down, kick my left leg out, bring it down, lower down. Press up. Pelvis is in neutral. Right leg out, hold, left leg out, hold, all the way down. We're not trying to arch our back. We're trying to keep it stable. And as I kick one leg out and the other, I'm trying to keep my pelvis as level as possible. Press up, right leg out, left leg out, lower. I'm really pushing through my hands, gripping my weights, and really pushing through my feet as I lift, continuing to breathe. 2 more. Bridges are a timing exercise for our glutes. Often our glutes aren't necessarily weak, but they aren't working in the timely manner that they should. And then back down. I'm going to put those weights by the side. And the next one, we're going to do a pointing dog. So each of these exercises, if you can see, are going from on my back to all fours. So I'm again in neutral spine. My hands are underneath my shoulders. My knees are underneath my hips. So I'm in a 90-90 position. My toes are tucked tight on the floor. A pointing dog is opposite arm and leg again, that PNF pattern. But this one, what we're going to do is as I reach my leg out, I'm going to drag the bag. Now you can drag a weight. The goal is to keep your pelvis level. So not turning it up towards the ceiling, but really reaching out and keeping pelvis level. A lot of these exercises, as we challenge the twist or the transverse plane, we're trying to create a rotation stress, but we're trying to get our core to stop that rotation from happening, which is what stabilizes our spine and protects it. It's not that rotating is bad, but rotating through the lumbar spine is what can herniate discs when you load it. So I'm really pushing with my hands and my feet into the ground. I'm reaching with the bottom leg as I drag and pull. The harder the floor resistance, obviously the harder it is. 1 more each side. My head staying neutral, and I'm breathing as I reach out. The next one we're going to do are mountain climbers. I'm going to do my mountain climbers with my slides. You don't have slides, you can use socks on a floor. You can also do regular mountain climbers. So I'm going to get again into that same 90-90 position. You can also use books on a carpet. They're a little harder, but they still work. Or sometimes just plates, your plastic plates. So I'm up in my plank position. My hips are in extension. I'm pressing through my arms, so I'm not sagging down here, but I'm also not hiking or dipping really low. I'm going to keep really hard, my core stable, as I move my hip up and back. The goal is not to tuck my pelvis. So it's not about going fast for this one. It's about the control, keeping my pelvis neutral while my hip moves. And I'm pressing through the floor with my toes. Sometimes you can get popping in your hip when you're doing certain exercises, and that's a sign of instability. So core stability for joint mobility. Two more. One more. Excellent. You can reach back just for a small little stretch. Now our next exercise is one of my favorites, but one of my hardest ones too, is side plank, plank to side plank. And we're going to do push-ups in the middle. So for those of you who haven't done planks in a while, I would recommend being on your knees. The first set I'm going to do on my knees just to demonstrate. We're going to hold side plank for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to keep our pelvis stable as we rotate into full plank. Again, I'm on my knees, but I'm going to do 5 press-ups. So I call this a scapular push-up. A lot of women especially have trouble with the push-up. One more. And it's really about your shoulder blades. Now I'm going to rotate into the other side plank. You can keep your legs on the ground. I'm really engaging my side, pushing my arm and hand firmly into the floor for that 5 seconds. Good. That's 1 repetition. Now I'm going to go into full plank. You can stay at side plank if that was hard. We're going to go up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to keep pelvis stable as we rotate. I'm in full plank doing 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rotating into next side plank. I'm really pushing with my feet into the floor and my elbow into the floor. So my spine is stable and I'm in a straight line. Now, if you want to make it harder, we can rotate back into plank and do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Push up and then back into side plank. Pushing with those feet for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. We're going to change sides. Because we went through all side plank, I want to stay balanced for today. So feet out nice and straight, lined up. Press up into full plank for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rotate into full plank. Push up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rotate into side plank. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back into full plank. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to side plank. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Now, if you need to, we're going to do 1 more each side. If you need to, stay in kneeling plank or just hold the plank when you're in that push-up position or do it every other one. Lift up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're rotating into full plank. Press up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rotate into full side plank again for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full plank. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. My core is staying engaged for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And down. If your shoulder hurts to do this, you can grab onto your shoulder like this as you lift up. Sometimes it makes it feel better. Press really hard into the ground so that you're using the scapular muscles. Now we're going to rotate forward. Again, you can just hold the plank, or you can do 3, 2, 1, and then back to side plank. My feet are in contact with the ground. I'm pushing through them, which gets the whole side of my body really working. So that's that frontal plane. Then I'm going to go into plank. Last set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then side plank for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Those are the ones I think a lot of people love and hate at the same time. So if you have bands, this one you can do with bands if you'd like, or you can do it with the weights. I'm going to do it with the weights, but I'm going to show you with the band as well. But my back is going to be to you. So this is a kneeling row with tricep extension. Bands give you a little more resistance and you have to control them. So they make it a little harder for some things. And the reason why we're doing kneeling is because this position works on hip and core stability, but it takes out the lower leg and the foot. But we're still going to plant our toes to the ground. I actually like to show you the backside because a lot of people, when they do rows, they're just bringing their elbows back, but it's about bringing your shoulder blades back and then your tricep extension. So this, I kind of feel like I want to go forward, but I really have to use my trunk to control and then let it go. So I can row. Tricep extension. My shoulder blades are staying squeezed together as I come forward. Now, if you'd rather use weights, okay, I'm in that trunk, my hips, I'm lined up this way, my toes are tucked to the floor. I'm going to grab my weight. I can press them out, row back, extend, and come back. So it's a press out, row back, extend, and back. So this might seem easy because I'm in a kneeling position. I find kneeling is actually a little harder than standing because we can often cheat with our lower legs to do the exercises. Good. I'm going to go back to the band rows just to show you them. You can continue with the weights that you have. So we're going to squeeze shoulder blades, tricep extend, keep those shoulder blades squeezed, and let it come forward. Squeeze back. My shoulder blades are what's squeezing back, not just my arms. Good. One more. Good. Now the next one we're going to do, so you can see I'm progressing from on my back, all fours, on my elbows and toes to kneeling. Now the next phase is half kneeling. So half kneeling works on, again, core stability. It's the start of the next phase that we're going to get into that reciprocal movement. So 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, which is our walking. In this position, it's important that my hips are level. So a lot of times when we half kneel, because of weakness and tightness in our hip, we can often look like one hip is raised. So it's important that my feet and knees are at my hips distance apart and that my pelvis is level. We're going to do a bicep curl with an overhead press. Again, my back toe is tucked under and I'm making sure that my foot is planted. Heel, little toe, big toe, because that guides the rest of my hip. A lot of times we end up letting this kind of come in, and that's a weakness in the outer portions of our muscle. So I'm going to take 2 weights. So this is working on multiple planes because I'm having to stabilize in the frontal plane, but I am positioned in the sagittal plane, flexion and extension. We're going to do a bicep curl and an overhead press, slowly lowering down and bringing back. Curl, press. My neck is relaxed as best as possible. It's over my shoulders. I'm curling, pressing. My downward arm is squeezing back with the shoulder blade. Your shoulder blade has the muscles that control and stabilize your head, neck, and shoulders. So it's super important to be stable and use those muscles. And often we get so tight, one more, in our front muscles that we don't have the ability to squeeze them back. So now I'm going to swap sides. So my toe is tucked under in the back. My hips are level. Sometimes one side is a little harder than the other. I'm pressing this in. My side view, I'm at 90-90. So this is 90 degrees. This is 90 degrees if I were to flatten my foot. Okay? I'm hip hinging to grab my weights. My leg that's bent, I'm going to hold that weight down. My shoulder blades are squeezed back, but I'm not arching at my back to do that. Nice upright posture, hips are level, bicep curl, and a press, slow return, and back down. Curl, press, lower, down. These patterns are neurodevelopmental as well. So when we're born, the first developmental thing that we do is breathe. And then for gross motor development, we roll. So that's back to belly, belly to back. Then we crawl, so all fours. We kneel. Then from kneeling to get to standing, we half kneel and then stand. 2 more. And last one. Okay. So now the next one I'm going to do, we're going to take this particular exercise and we're going to turn it into the split squat. So again, I'm progressing through the patterns of movement. I'm going to take the heavier weight because I'm going to do a PNF diagonal. So a chop and lift. Again, that's working a diagonal pattern. I'm going to show it to you from the side. Now, We just got into that split squat, so I'm 90-90. A lot of times when people do a lunge or a split squat, which is a static lunge, they are too close together. So if you look at my foot distance, it's a pretty good far apart, but my knee is 90 degrees and so is the back leg. Trunk is stable. The thing that most people do in a squat or a split squat, they don't use the back foot. They're using the whole front leg to push them up. But if you want to get this whole backside to work, I got to use my foot. So I'm going to push back with my foot, like back to lift up, so that the work is happening on both feet as they push apart. And that's what raises me up so that I'm not putting all my force on the front leg or making it all quad dominant. Most exercises are multi joint and muscle exercises. We just sometimes think they do one thing at a time. So as I raise, I'm going to chop and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower. I'm using my back foot to really push away, lift and lower. I'm using my front foot to push in, lift and lower. One more. Good. Now I'm going to swap sides. So my right foot's forward, my left foot's back. If I want to check to make sure I'm in the right position, I can get into that half kneeling, can slide this foot out a little bit more. I'm going to push, my hips are level, and I'm going to push through my back foot, lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower. So again, we're working in the sagittal plane, flexion and extension of our hips, but I'm working in the transverse plane as I bring this weight diagonally across my body. One more, and down. Good. The next one we're going to do, so the squat goes into a lunge, or split squat goes into a lunge. This next one, some of you have seen, some of you maybe not. I'm going to do it with just a 10-pound weight. We're going to do a lunge matrix. So lunges are obviously the split squat in action, right? So I'm going to step forward, come down, and push back up. Most people have trouble with the forward lunge because you have to decelerate that forward weight. And then the matrix is working us like a clock. So I have 12 o'clock, I have 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock. So I'm going to step forward. For now, I'm just holding my weight to the side on my chest and then backwards. Good. Then I'm going to go backwards, lateral, and forward. So right foot forward, push using my feet, right foot side, left, right foot back. Now I'm going to change, left foot back, left foot side, left foot forward. And I'm using my feet the whole time. Now, if I want to make this harder, I can change my weight. I can either hold 2 different weights on the side, or I can take the weight and reach the floor. I started with my left foot first, so I'm going to continue that way. By reaching the floor, I'm activating my backside, a little bit more. Then I can change it and I can reach the ceiling. I'm activating my front side. Oops. That's where the balance comes into play a little bit too. The last one we're going to do, I'm going to start going to the right again because it's easier for me. We're going to rotate. So I can step forward and put my weight to the left, making sure I feel stable. Step to the right, step back. Oops. This is where I've got to focus as I'm teaching to do it. All right, so that's another great exercise that I really like that is super helpful in all mobility. But start with the split squat because that's the best way to go. If you have trouble with squats, split squats or lunges, then start with the kneeling and half kneeling. The next one, we're going to do a single-legged deadlift with a row. So we can do a two-legged deadlift to start. A deadlift is a hip hinge. Sometimes what I teach people first is how to do a good morning. The weight's up by your chest, and you're just hinging at the hip with your knees bent, pushing through your feet and coming back. A hip hinge is no back movement. Again, it's only hip movement. So this is going to be a little bit of a warm-up. My feet are really planted and pushing into the ground to lift. Now I can go into a deadlift. The deadlift is just keeping my arms. So again, my shoulder blades squeezed. I stick my butt out with a hinge and come back. Stick my butt out with a hinge and come back. Now I can turn it into a row if I want. I can hinge, row, lower, lift. Hinge, row, lower, lift. And now our exercise is a single-legged. So some people do well with a toe touch. So again, my back stays stable. I'm hinging, rowing, lifting. Hinge, row, push through the feet to lift. Hinge, row, push through the feet to lift. Hinge, row, push to lift. One more, hinge. So my back is staying nice and neutral. Now I'm going to swap sides. That toe is literally just touching for balance, but again, I can do it without. As I develop the strength and stability, hinge, row, lift. My head should stay nice and neutral. My knee is tracking over the middle of my foot. It's not wobbling in. I'm really squeezing shoulder blades back and together, not just bringing my elbows back. One more. Keeping pelvis level. Good. Now we're going to keep the weights in our hand and we're going to do marching walks. So it seems easy, but the goal, I have to push my foot to the floor on the left side to be strong and stable to lift my right leg up. And then advance forward. So the down leg is pushing down hard enough that the leg lifting has the stability to lift. Now, if you want to make it more challenging, you can do it backwards. Again, my shoulder blades are not squeezed so tightly back, but they're active in the back. Notice I'm not tucking. I'm really keeping nice and tall. as I march. I'm pushing through the whole foot, which allows for the stability in the leg to move. So again, PNF, one of the main principles is called proximal stability for distal mobility. Proximal is closest to the spine. Distal is farther away. So the stability of the joints and muscles closest to the spine give you more ability to move things further away from the spine. So sometimes we have an elbow tendonitis that's coming from the fact that my shoulder scapular mechanism isn't as stable. So guess what? This is doing more work because it's stabilizing and moving because this isn't being as stable. So everything close to the center, and our core literally is this whole torso. The extremities, my shoulders, elbows, fingers, hips, and down, are what should be moving while this stays stable. The next one we're going to do is a three-way step down. So we're going to grab the step. We're going to grab our weights. Now, we're going to do the step up first, just to get on the step nice and sturdy. I'm standing on my right leg first. My hips stay level. My weight is going to stay equal on either side for right now. My shoulder blades are actively working to keep those back. I'm going to keep all the weight in my right foot. I'm going to touch my left foot back behind me, to the side, to the front. I'm working really hard to keep my hips from dipping. So if this is difficult for you, you can actually do this on the floor. I'll show you in a second. Now, if I want to make it different or more challenging, I can change my weight pattern. What this does is it loads my body a little differently or asymmetrically, which challenges again, not only that sagittal plane because I'm doing this motion, last one, but because I'm challenging my frontal plane, the side to side. So if I want to do it on the floor, I can just do front, side, back. It's all about controlling that knee as I'm lowering to the ground. So now we're going to step up with that right foot. Good, we're going to stand on the left foot. The back is the easiest. That's why I start with that first. And again, I really have to press all parts of my foot into the step to balance my pelvis and to get all of the muscles in my leg working. Steps are where a lot of people struggle, and some people will say this hurts their knee. But if you do the small ranges, it will actually work to strengthen. And I'm trying to go slow, so I'm going to alter my weight resistance. We've got two more. So I'm controlling that descent. So we've got eccentric control, is that slow lowering to the step. That's what is working as I'm lowering to the ground. My muscles are working to control how hard that foot lands. So if you ever notice yourself going down the stairs and it sounds like one foot is hitting harder, you're lacking some eccentric control. The last one we're going to do is a goblet squat with an upright row. So my hips are a little My feet are a little wider than hip distance apart and pointed at about a 45-degree angle. So kind of at a nice angle away. I've got my heavier weight in my hand. Now I'm going to squat, pushing my knees out over my toes, sinking my butt down. As I row up, I'm going to come up to my chest. So I'm sinking down and rowing up. This whole I can't squat with my knees over my toes. There's so much controversial information. You should have the ankle mobility to do so. And notice it's controlled. My knees are going over my second and third toe. I'm pushing through my feet as I elevate up. And again, most of these exercises are all developmental. They are things that babies do. If you watch them as they develop, but sometimes as we get to be older, injuries, too much sitting cause us not to move. And therefore we lack both stability and mobility. One more. Excellent. I'm going to show you my 3 favorite cool downs. Some of you who know me know that you know I like the bow and arrow. And I'm going to show you my 3 progressions of it. Big, deep. So I'm tucking my knees up. It locks out my lumbar spine and helps me to rotate my thoracic spine. I'm going to take a deep breath in. And I'm going to exhale and rotate my shoulder blade all the way back to the ground. Big deep breath in. I can either let my head look at the down shoulder, or I can let it rotate with me, or I can just keep it in line with my sternum. Now I'm going to straighten the bottom leg. I'm going to hold the top leg up. Again, this is a rotation pattern. I'm going to breathe in and I'm going to breathe out. When I first started this, I could not get my shoulder blade at all towards the floor. My arm was about up to here. So I was so tight in the middle of my back that I couldn't get to that place. Now you're going to take the bottom leg, grab your foot. I'm going to pull my leg back and I'm going to rotate into what's called a bretzel. So I'm going to show you from this position. My hip is an extension. My other leg is up and I'm rotating trunk all the way back. So I'm getting a good diagonal stretch through the front and through the back side. 3 big breaths. And then I'm going to swap sides. So knees tucked up. You can always use something for your head. Breathe in and out. Sometimes I hold my knee down. Breathe in. I have this side is a little tighter. If you find your ribs feel tight, you can do what's called a rib grab. You can grab your ribs to pull them back with you instead of moving your arm. But this exercise is all about the breath because the ribs are the cage that all your breathing comes into. And the breathing is important to stretch from the inside out. Plus, the exhale helps a better inhale, and it helps your brain to relax. Grab the bottom of the foot and hold for 3 big breaths. The next one I want to do is the world's greatest stretch, they say. We're going to get into this position. My toes tucked under. My back leg is straight. I've got a good stretch here. I'm going to put my right hand down by my left foot, and I'm going to breathe out as I rotate up and come back down. I'm going to breathe out as I rotate the opposite side up and come back down. I'm going to do one more each side. Good. And then I'm going to sink back to get the stretch in my hamstring. I'm trying to keep my pelvis level so I'm not rounding my spine to get that good stretch in my hamstring. And I can point and flex my toe to get a little bit of a nerve glide. Good. I'm going to swap legs. Right leg forward, left leg back. So I'm getting the hip flexor, getting the opposite glute, toes tucked under, left foot, left arm down, big deep breath in, getting that rotation, big deep breath in, one more each side. You'll find one side is easier to rotate to than the other. Good. I'm going to sink back, keeping back straight. Hips are squared off. Point and flex. Point and flex. Getting a nice stretch in that hamstring. And then the last one I'm going to do is going into a prayer stretch and then right into trunk extension. And just doing a few back and forth. I'm letting my hands kind of grip the floor so I get a nice stretch in my lat here. And then I'm transitioning, again, bringing my shoulder blades back. So it's all spine extension, not just lumbar spine. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more. This one you can kind of choose your breathing as whatever feels best. Excellent. Thanks for joining me for the Fit Over 50 summer demo. I hope you enjoy this beautiful weather, and we'll see you in the fall.